Now let's move on to the business news here on France24. Declines mostly in Asia, in fact, as markets continue to respond to Donald Trump's threat to impose tariffs on all US imports from China, which triggered a bout of sell-offs in Wall Street and European stocks on Friday. You can see down there across the board, apart from that very slight rise there on the Shanghai Composite. The dollar has also been declining against major currencies to its lowest in more than 2 weeks after Trump criticised the Federal Reserve's tightening policy and accused as well the European Union and China of manipulating their currencies. Well, we're going to cross live now to Limassol. We're going to speak to Jameel, Ahmad, who's head of currency strategy and market research for FXTM. Thanks very much for being with us on the programme. Once again, then, the words of Donald Trump are really affecting the markets.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure. It certainly appears that way. It's become quite consistent now and quite a trend that when President Trump makes a comment about the financial markets, that investors react. Early this morning, we're seeing quite a mixed, choppy sentiment towards the global stock markets. It's turning more negative now as Asian markets appear back after lunchtime. And there's a couple of different things now that are weighing on sentiment. You've got this threat from President Trump that he could impose further trade tariffs. So this trade war headline still lingers in the background. You've also got comments from President Trump around the dollar valuation, and more specifically about US interest rate policy that's taken investors a little bit more off guard, and they appear to be reacting by showing less attraction towards the stock markets, and we're seeing the dollar slip lower against its major currencies as well.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, Trump making those comments once again about the US dollar.
Absolutely, and some were wondering when exactly President Trump would speak about the dollar, because the dollar has gained 4% nearly over the past 3 months as these trade war tensions have really taken over all the attention. You've got this suspicion that the US economy will be better suited to handle a trade war than those economies that it's targeting, and also that the US dollar might become the reserve currency and in favour by major economies if a trade war did break out. But of course, if the dollar is getting stronger by 4%, you're seeing a lot of dollar strength across the currency markets. And we know from the past when Trump was inaugurated that he does have concerns about the dollar valuation as well.
Let's have a look at the rest of the week then. We've got some important data releases for the week ahead coming up in the US, and an ECB interest rate decision as well, haven't we?
Absolutely. So we've got these headline risks such as the trade war and tensions around the dollar valuation. And then you've got this major economic releases as well. So we're going to expect another busy week at the financial markets. ECB, European Central Bank rate decision. Of course, most are expecting interest rates to be left on hold. Unchanged, sorry. However, we're looking for more guidance from the ECB on when they could potentially raise EU interest rates, which is likely not going to be to the end of next year. And then we've got the US GDP reading, where most are expecting the US economy to continue performing at a robust pace. It's probably going to lead some support towards the US dollar, because the US economy is still appearing above and beyond its major economies when it comes to economic performance.
Jameel, good to have you with us as ever. Jameel Ahmad, head of currency strategy and market research at FXTM. Now, in the meantime, the group of